Welcome back to the Fans of the Home Team podcast.
I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Miranda. This is a podcast that talks about the fun, the drama, and the effects that sports, teams, and athletes bring to the world, whether good or bad.
This is a podcast for the people who care about sports in a deeper way than who won or who lost. It's for the people who love the feel-good stories behind teams and athletes and realize that sports are more than a game.
Today's episode is going to be much more lighthearted than our past couple episodes, which thank you to everyone who sent us compliments and positive feedback on those episodes. So today we're doing something a little more fun rather than some of the more serious and important topics we've been covering. So we're all about balance over here.
I think my favorite compliment we got, my mom texted me, do I have to take my rainbow flag down? And I was like, are you a corporation profiting off of gay people? No, you're good. You can leave the flag up.
And just you being like, you've been supporting the community for 28 years, Mom. You're good. So cute.
I know. I had to ask for permission. Love that. A little switch of roles there.
Yes, it was adorable. So sweet.
We're going to be vibing today, talking about our biggest sports pet peeves. I looked at Miranda's and she's going to be roasting me in one of these. I am one of her biggest sports pet peeves, but it's fine. We both have 3 here. So buckle up. We got some hot takes.
Yours are a lot more logical than mine, or mine are just attacking fan. When we were like, yeah, let's record sports pet peeves, I already had my top 3. I could have done a top 10.
That's why I capped it, because Miranda could just go. But mine is the price of food and beverage at sporting events. And this is not just sporting events, but they do it for amusement parks and zoos and anywhere you're locked in. You pay the price of admission, you're in there, and you can't eat or drink unless you leave. And they just upcharge everything by a bajillion %. Any game you go to, beers are $9 to freaking $15. That's a case of beer.
Bud Light.
That's a case of Bud Light for a swing.
Ultra, sorry, Mick Ultra.
Yeah. Let's skip beer tonight, queens. But throwback. Food, chicken tenders, freaking $15. That's unbelievable to me. So a lot of times I don't eat at sporting events or drink because I'm like, I can't justify this. I already paid to get in here. I'll just eat before, pregame before. But there are teams like the Atlanta Falcons, for example, went to a cost-effective model for its customers, and they saw record profits from it. I don't think it's a really hard concept to come around that if you make things affordable, people will buy more of it. Just look at $1 hot dog nights and stuff like that.
I don't know how you would do this because I'm not a financial person, but when you go to resorts or cruises or whatever, and it's all inclusive, why can't we just do that all included in the ticket and then you just pay up front?
Some teams do that. When I was working at unnamed minor league baseball team.
I mean, what episode are we on? I feel like people have to have figured this out by now.
We haven't gotten a cease and desist letter yet, though. When I was working at said team, we had a all-you-can-eat inclusive season ticket, and we made all of our tickets that way. You didn't have a choice. That was just what it was for that season. That was the last season before COVID, though. I don't know what they're doing right now. We're not friends. Burnt bridges.
Got blocked on Twitter.
People literally hated it. They were so mad about it.
Really?
Yes, because they didn't like that it cost more. It was a lot of old people. Because old people are typically the ones buying minor league baseball season tickets, but they did not like it. I would have liked it if I was doing it, but it also depends on the quality of the food at that point too, and what you can all get. There's a lot that goes into it, but I'm for it. But a lot of times all-inclusive options for a single game are expensive as shit too.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe not problems. But even the Miami Marlins, they launched their more affordable menu too, and it's obviously not some of the luxury foods, but it's like your standard hot dog and soda and beer and stuff like that. We talked about this a lot in grad school too. For a family to go, whether it's a family of 3 to 8, whatever, how many people, it's still a lot. Even just as a couple to go, it's a lot. So I could only imagine adding other members to the family, bringing your kids and stuff. I don't know how my parents did it back in the day. I look forward to the day of bringing my kids, but it's going to be very special occasions. And I mean, if the Rays are still here, they're pretty cheap. So that's good. But if you're in one of the bigger markets, I feel like it's challenging to bring them to a sporting event. even if you look at the Lightning or the Bucks, it's pretty expensive. Like Derek and I went to the Coldplay concert at Raymond James, and we spent $70 on boneless chicken wings, fries, and 2 beers and water.
You're lying.
Yeah.
You're lying.
Yeah. No, I'm not lying at all.
They better have been the best boneless wings of your
They
entire
were from
life.
Wing House, so no.
No, absolutely not.
That was probably one of the more affordable places like that. I think they have Little Caesars there too, but obviously they have the fancier ones where they're making Cuban sandwiches or Cuban quesadillas, and I'm sure they jack the prices of that up.
I don't need a ribeye at a game. I just want a hot dog or some chicken tenders, and I think they should be restaurant price.
Yeah, what is the point of jacking up the prices?
When you think about it, you're paying the salaries of these players almost by your food prices.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Which is like, pay for your players yourself, you rich ass hoe. But
yeah, I was going to say, when they're getting sponsorships that are millions of dollars.
Yeah, well,
can you lower your food prices? Thanks.
Buy more hot dogs or they're getting rid of your favorite player. That's what I've learned from being a Cubs fan, apparently. So
buy more hot dogs or Anthony Rizzo is getting kicked off this team.
That's what happened. Your cousin Ray texted me the other day because we were playing the Braves, and she was like, why are you guys so bad? I need you to sweep the Rays. I'm like, we're literally fielding a AA team against the reigning World Series champs. Can you get off my back?
You should have just said it's because the Chicago Cubs fans aren't buying enough hot dogs, and apparently the Atlanta Braves are buying plenty of hot dogs. So
I'll buy more hot dogs when you put a winning product on the field. How about that?
Yeah, it's places like Wrigley and even Truist Park, I'm sure that's not a cheap ticket to the ball game in the first place. And then you're buying food, drinks, whatever. I don't know. I understand why this is a pet peeve. I don't know how you solve it. But I mean, there are teams like the Atlanta Falcons and Braves who have more affordable food prices.
It can be solved if you choose to solve it. I mean, the Falcons model has worked. I think a couple of other NFL teams have adopted it too. It's a proven system. It's just up to people if they want to. But like I said, Janelle and I do not buy food or drinks at games most of the time, unless it's a promotion like the Clippers did Dime a Dog Night. So we are slinging dogs.
Oh my God. I don't know if I've ever been, this is so bougie of me, but I don't know if I've ever been to a sporting event and not bought a drink or food. Even in college, though, when we would go to the FSU games, we would go and get food and wait in the Chick-fil-A line that was like a whole quarter long and miss the first quarter of the game, but worth it.
No, first of all, no. Second of all, I'll do it if my dad's with me. Shout out to dad, but I'm not doing it myself.
Oh my gosh. No, I feel like I have to have sustenance.
We just see before we go. I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's one of the things I cut out, I guess.
When I was budgeting, I cut out food and beverage at sporting events.
The second Great Depression is coming. I can't be buying $20 beers.
Yeah, and I think it's also exclusive of people being able to go enjoy sporting events too, because it's really the people who have that disposable income that can go.
That's a good point too. I guess you just starve the poor people if they can even afford to get into the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is tough.
Yeah. I feel like this is a good pet peeve for sure.
Me too.
Definitely more logical than mine. So mine are not in order. I was just throwing them in here. But one of my pet peeves, and mine are literally every single one starts with when fans.
We're just shitting on fans. Fans of the home team. Shit on fans.
I'm trying to think of the best way to say this, but if you're going to go to a game and you don't understand what's going on, I don't care about that, and enjoy yourself and have fun. But if you don't know what's going on and you're just yelling just to yell for no reason, I literally hate that. Not understanding penalties or always shouting penalty every single thing. I can't deal with that. Or my least favorite thing is, and I guess this is more so in hockey, it's kind of the only thing I can think about, or I guess it could be basketball too, but when people are screaming from the 300 level, shoot, no shit, that's what they're trying to do. Please stop. I can't deal with that. I'm all for a good camaraderie going back and forth with the other fans, but when people are yelling at the players, they can't hear you, nor do they care. For example, when I went to the Lightning Ranger game, the Lightning player ran into Vasilevsky. It was their own fault. And the fans are like, penalty on the Rangers. And I'm like, did you just see what happened? They're playing the replay on the scoreboard. No, that's not how it works. And I just feel like people shout things just to shout them. And it just pisses me off. And again, if it's a true penalty, okay, go off. Like, you're right. But most of the time they scream it maybe 50 times and it's twice, if that it's a penalty. And I'm just like, are you watching the same game? I've experienced it multiple times at all different sporting events where it's yelling at the refs or umpires or whoever. Why?
I see what you're saying. This is an argument against making alcohol prices lower for sure, because I'm sure alcohol has a lot to do with this.
Oh,
this subject.
100%. And I usually sit in the cheap seats, which you get a different type of fan, I would say.
Clientele.
Yeah.
When I'm watching a sporting event in person, usually I'm typically very quiet. I'm just kind of locked in. I usually don't yell in-person sporting events unless the call is really bad or something really good happens. But in my own home, I'm definitely more vocal about things. And maybe it's because I'm not in public looking like a giant jackass to a bunch of strangers.
I don't care what people do in the comfort of their own home. I just don't understand it. And if it's like the whole crowd is pissed off, okay, that's one thing. But if you're a select few that just keeps going and going and going, please shut up. You look like an idiot right now.
Yeah, you're just an obnoxious douchebag who's just ruining the vibe, basically.
Yeah, for sure. You're not even enjoying the game at that point. You're just yelling the entire game for what? I think people just think like sports, oh, we can be aggressive and angry and scream and blah, blah, blah. If it's a really bad call or the whole audience is pissed, go for it. But if you're the only one in the section screaming all the time, this has happened to me on multiple occasions, or just talking shit about the other team.
I think people like to get reactions out of other people. That's really what it comes down to, is they want to stir the pot and see what can happen.
Yeah, and it's just these grown-ass adults acting like literal children. There was this one guy at the Rangers Lightning game, and again, I've never had an issue at Emily wearing an opposite jersey or whatever. Really fortunate. And it was really just this one guy, and he's just talking shit on Igor and just very uneducated things. It makes me so mad. He was saying how Igor is the worst goalie and oh, he's never gonna live up to Vazzy and this, that, and the other. And again, I understand talking shit to a certain extent, but you are an uneducated fan because Igor is likely winning the Vezina this year for best goalie. I was just so tempted to school this guy, but I didn't, because I'm never going to see him again. But it's things like that and saying, oh, I don't know why Rangers fan thinks he's so good. They're all dumbasses, and screaming it louder intentionally so I could hear it, because obviously I was one of the only Rangers fans around him. And I'm just like, I just don't understand trying to instigate a fight at sporting events. The whole point of fans of the home team is we're all there together to enjoy it. There's going to be people who aren't the same fan as your team. There's a difference between having fun and going back and forth and having that natural competitiveness and just being a straight up jerk off. And that dude was totally doing it on purpose, because in hockey, a huge thing is taunting the goalie. So they're all like, Igor sucks, which, okay, go off. We do it at MSG and we say Vazzy sucks. But to keep going, just this one guy and saying Igor is the worst, blah, blah, blah. The dude is in the Eastern Conference Finals. What are you talking about? And just blatantly being like, their fans are dumbasses. And then Derek and I went down from the 300 level to the 100 to get food. And we were walking in the stairwell. I was in front of Derek, and these two grown-ass men again walk through the door, and the one dude behind shuts the door and looks at me, and he's like, no, you're not coming in here. And I'm just like, bro, I paid for a ticket. I can open the door. You know, there's 10 of them, right?
What?
Yes, things of that nature. And I feel like that's why I don't like the constant shouting penalty, penalty, penalty. I'm like, oh my God, you don't know what you're talking about.
Because it takes a certain type of person to be the one doing that. You automatically know a person's a douchebag and they're annoying and you don't want to be around them.
Yeah. And again, going back to it, you paid for the ticket, you paid for food and beer, and now you're sitting next to these annoying ass fans who are just screaming just to scream. And again, obviously, I've had a recent experience at Amalie, but I've experienced it at football games, baseball games, just constantly yelling. And it makes no sense because, first of all, no one is listening to you. I hope you understand that. No one of importance, because yeah, I'm listening to you, but I can't do shit about it. The refs, the players, they can't hear you on the field.
That's a good point. Maybe they're trying to get their attention, change the game forever.
Yeah, I'm
make
sure.
an impact, be a part of it.
So
definitely alcohol.
Definitely heavily influenced by alcohol, I'm sure.
That's why half the time I like watching sports at home, because I don't have to deal with people.
Yeah, so. Honestly. And again, I have always had good experiences at Amalie wearing my Rangers stuff, but I don't know if I'll ever go back for another Rangers Lightning game, because those do. And again, not to be like one person's ruining it for everyone, but it's annoying. I can be more myself at home because yeah, I definitely scream at the TV and I get pissed off and I jump up with excitement, and playoffs and postseason is stressful. And I don't think I'm the right audience to be watching it in with thousands of other people.
I definitely wouldn't go to a Michigan game that was at Ohio State or at Michigan State, probably, because I know I just get pissed off.
I feel like you just can't really be your true fan self. I am a respectful fan, and I'm not going to just be coming into Amalie talking shit about the Rangers, because in hockey, anything can happen and it can change in the drop of a hat, like we saw. So I don't know.
People act like real life is sports Twitter at games half the time and just say whatever they want, and they should not.
Yeah. But then there's great people. We saw a ton of people who were Lightning and Rangers fans together. I mean, me and Derek, right. But even the people, a couple rows, I think they were two best friends. They were enjoying the game, bickering back and forth, but in a lighthearted way, not being like, you're a dumbass, or slamming the door on someone. Chill, bro. Life is so much more than this. I promise.
I wonder what you have to go through to become like that.
I don't know. And not to be totally sexist here, but it's, I would say 10 times out of 10 grown ass men.
People act like they've never been taught how to act in public. What were your parents doing for 18 years when they took you out?
Exactly. And act like you've been here before. Like, come on.
Cool. Well, go Bolts. Bolts and 6, as always. Anyway, changing gears here. My second one is about college football being completely unbalanced. And when you think of every other sport, the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, all of that, there's ways that the league operates to make sure that things can stay balanced, more so with the NFL and NBA and NHL in terms of salary caps. But you also have the draft. So the worst team typically gets to select the best player, and that can obviously change everything in the league, as we've seen multiple times before. But in college football, you don't have that. There's absolutely no way to make sure that a team could come up from the bottom and be a national champion. There's just zero chance of it happening with the way it's currently structured. Ever since the college football playoff has been around, I mean, it's the same teams every single year. It's Alabama, it's Georgia, it's Ohio State. I'm tired of knowing what's going to happen before the freaking season even starts every year.
I love college football. I've always been more of a fan of the NFL. I think mostly because I grew up watching NFL football more than college football until I came or went to FSU. One of the reasons I like the NFL is it's a little more unpredictable, especially in the last few years. But I think with college football, sometimes it's hard to get excited when you already know the outcome for the end of the season.
I'm tired of spending my weeks just rooting for Nick Saban to retire.
Yeah.
or
And
rooting
the downfall of one football team.
I think fans root more for a downfall of a team
100%
rather than their own team, because if a team does not go into a downward spiral, their team most likely has no chance of making it into the top 4 because of the rankings that were predetermined at the beginning of the season before seeing anybody play.
It just goes into a larger picture to the part about college football too that is different from the NFL is the recruiting part. So if your team is continuing to win national championships and have a good program and win, all the good players and top prospects, for the most part, a good chunk, you have a better chance of those prospects going to those top schools. The likelihood of them picking a lower school is not pretty slim, because obviously you want to go to a winning program.
It's like a monopoly, which are illegal. Monopolies are illegal.
And I think there are like those outliers. Is that how you say that word? Yeah,
it is.
That happen every now and again. I look at FSU because we're in a big conference, the ACC, all that stuff, but we're not an Alabama, Ohio State, SEC football school. We won and we had our run for 2 seasons. Then all of these players wanted to come to the school, and we got money to improve our football practice facility and all of the facilities and the locker room and things like that. So then you make the program more appealing for recruits, and then the chance of your team being better in the long run are higher. Again, that has not happened at FSU, but for a little bit there, we were doing good. It's hard to just get excited when it's going to be, like you said, Alabama, Ohio State. And even if you look at Georgia, I think Georgia has been competitive in history, but there also was the time when they weren't as good. But now that they've gotten better and have gone and won, their program's going to keep improving, because now they have the appeal of winning.
Georgia and Clemson basically just switched spots last year kind of on us. It's just one powerhouse to another powerhouse. And then you look at what they did for the college football playoff. They put Alabama against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's story was insane, but I mean, we all know it was going to happen. And then you stick Michigan, who is a really good team, against Georgia, but Georgia had how many kids go get drafted to the NFL right after? The strength and the speed numbers were just so different. There was really no chance of Michigan or Cincinnati being able to play in the national championship. And then we had to see this same matchup we saw 2 weeks earlier. That's boring. I don't want to see that.
I personally hate the SEC, and the reason why is because I'm just sick of seeing the same schools over and over. And I think that's why underdog stories are so big, and not just college football, but college basketball too, because just the likelihood of them, obviously in basketball, it's a higher chance because there's more teams going, but just the likelihood of seeing a Cincinnati there who's in the American, those are pretty slim. So obviously everyone's going to root for them against Alabama, but it sucks because you also know that they're probably not going to win.
In college basketball, on any given day, you can have a complete powerhouse go down because it's just a bad day. But when you're talking football, when you're talking a sport where speed and size and strength matters so much, that's just truly not going to happen in a playoff atmosphere. Maybe week 1 or 2, but it's not happening at the end of the season.
It all goes back to money.
I do have a solution. This is my solution for this.
Interesting.
Okay. I felt like that was a little condescending. That's fine. I think you should be able to sign like 1 5-star a year, a couple 4 stars, and then the lower the star gets, the more you can recruit. Spreads out the best kids. So you don't see Alabama signing 10 5-stars in one class. That's my solution to the whole thing. So I think it's perfect. Can't be poked through. No loopholes. That's it.
Yeah, no loopholes at all. I think that's great. I don't think that will ever happen.
Yeah, I'm not saying it'll happen. I'm just saying that's my solution to the entire thing, because then every 5-star can't team up and go to the same school.
Yeah. Or people transferring left, right, and center all the time.
Dude, the transferring, yeah, I guess that's another thing. They could just transfer. You'd have to pretty much get rid of transfers.
They would legit probably have to sign a contract. You're locked in here for X amount of years. And I don't even know if that's allowed with quote unquote amateur sports.
They get freaking paid. They're all getting money. They
100%. Just no one
money.
talks about it. And that again goes back though to recruiting, because people, yes, they can provide a winning team or better facilities, blah, blah, blah. But those bigger schools probably have more liquidated funds to give their players, even though no one talks about it.
There's literally 18-year-old kids making hundreds of thousands of dollars before they even step on the field from those deals. That's wild to me.
After these two pet peeves, I feel like yours are actual problems in sports. I think mine are more pet peeves because it's just annoying and there's really no solution to them. It's just how it's going to be. But yours are actual issues in sports, because we could do a whole episode on just the corruption of not just college football, but college sports as a whole. And there's how many books written about it, how many documentaries, how many people have come out and talked about it. But it's just like, this is how it is. And it's back to Saturday college game day.
The NCAA is an absolute nightmare of an organization. I'm very glad that Mark Emmert's going to be stepping down soon. I think he's a terrible leader. We'll see where the NCAA is in 10 years, but I could very much see college football moving away from the NCAA.
That's so crazy to wrap my head around. Because like, what would they do? Be the G League or something?
I mean, they're basically a professional sports league at this point. So
they 100% are, but they don't get, and I think some players probably get treated as if they are, but some no.
Oh yeah, for sure. But we'll see. I think college football will look a lot different in 10 years than it looks now. It could be, I don't know, hopefully it's way better, because I'm just tired of seeing the same teams that wear red in the college football final every year.
I always get excited for college football because I love FSU football, even though we suck, but it's just hard to maintain excitement, if that makes sense, especially when your team is awful.
You're watching the same league, but when you root for teams that have no chance, it's like watching a different league than what fans of good SEC teams watch. Truly, you're fighting for something way different. The schools I went to, Miami of Ohio and USF, I watched them. There's absolutely no chance that they're going to the same place that I hope Michigan's going to go. I hope they go to a bowl game, the Idaho Potato Bowl. That's what I want them to do. That's the pinnacle of what those teams can accomplish. And that's so wild. But yeah, real problems here.
I was going to say, these are sports issues. And mine are just like, the fans are annoying. Which, speaking of, my next pet peeve, and we talked about this previously, and yes, Kelsey does it, is when fans wear a random ass jersey to a game. I literally don't understand this whatsoever. Sometimes it's just to be an asshole, because when I went to, again, the Rangers Lightning game, I saw a dude wearing an Islanders jersey. And I'm like, really? What are you doing? Ugh, the angsty person inside me wants to go up to them and be like, y'all didn't even make the playoffs. What are you doing here? And you know that, and this is just Islanders fans, but he's wearing his jersey because the Rangers are in it, and the Rangers and Islanders have history of hating each other forever. But also the Lightning beat the Islanders last year in Game 7. I'm like, it's embarrassing that you're wearing this jersey right now. Like, it really is. I never understood it. I saw someone wearing a Chicago Blackhawks jersey. And again, I think it's a little different. And I know we talked about this. If the player on your jersey used to be on the team, I'm like, okay, that's a little bit better. I still personally wouldn't do it, but I just don't understand the random, like, again, Islanders, Chicago Blackhawks. I don't even know what jersey he was wearing, but again, y'all didn't even make the playoffs. Like, it would be different too if you were wearing a Oilers jersey to the Lightning Rangers game. Okay, I still don't understand why you're here, but at least you're wearing a jersey of a team that's in the playoffs. And I see it at baseball games all the time, and it's Mets Rays. Let me show up in my Chicago Cubs jersey. Like, what? That doesn't make sense.
I know you're probably expecting me to defend this. I really have no defense for doing this.
Like, I want to go up to someone and be like, why are you wearing that?
It's my clothes. That's the clothes I wear to a game.
I always point them out because it bugs the crap out of me. Sometimes you stick out like a sore thumb.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Lightning and Rangers. So you're wearing white, black, blue, most likely. And you're wearing a Blackhawks jersey, which is bright red. What are we doing, bud? What are we doing? You wandered into the wrong arena.
I think Chicago teams actually do this a lot.
Yes. Because honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I think most of the players I've seen at baseball games, so whether up at Citi Field or down here at Tropicana, it's Cubs shirts because it's that blue. And I guess like when it's against the Mets, it fits in a little bit more because we have kind of the similar blue, the royal blue. But still, I'm just like, what are we?
I really have no good defense, but I just wear my Cubs jersey at baseball games.
When you go to the minor league, the Clippers, do you wear your Chicago Cubs stuff too?
Yeah, I wear a Cubs shirt. It's different though, you know.
I guess that's a little different.
I don't have Clippers here. Like it's really no one goes for the team. It's a little different.
I don't know. I've gone to Bucks Saints games before when I didn't have a Bucks t-shirt and I just wore normal clothes. I didn't show up in my Giants stuff.
I probably wouldn't do it for a football game.
So we're just talking specifically baseball.
I would probably do it for hockey. If the Blue Jackets were playing some random team, I would probably wear my Lightning jersey just because I hate the Blue Jackets so much. It probably would be like, I'm an asshole. Fuck you guys.
For sure. That's what that Islanders fan was doing. I see it all the time. There's at least one person and I'm like, what are we doing here? And again, like, there's no resolution to this. And like, go off if you want to wear a different team jersey. That's totally up to you. But it is one of my pet peeves, and I'm just questioning your life if I see you.
I definitely have come to the conclusion I just do it to be an asshole.
Okay. And that's exactly what I thought these people were doing.
It is. Because I'll do it to Reds games all the time with my Cubs stuff, no matter who they're playing, because I'm like, you guys suck.
Even when I went to the Lightning Rangers game, I wore a Rangers jersey with no name on it, even though I have a Rangers jersey, but it has McDonough on it. But I was like, I don't want him on the back of my jersey.
Right, that's fair.
At this time. Because when I go to a Lightning Rangers game, I wear my Rangers McDonough jersey. And I'm like, oh, I'm kind of rooting for both teams. But during the playoffs, I'm like, no, I don't want anything to do with you. But I don't know. Even before I had a Rays shirt, and I would go to Rays games just to go and enjoy a baseball game. And I would just wear normal non-sport t-shirt, I guess.
Your suggestion last time was to wear a black shirt that said baseball on it.
I think that would be funnier than like,
I don't think that's
one of like those dad shirts that's like, this is my baseball shirt and it's just black.
I'll consider it next time.
I think that would be hilarious. But yeah, that's one of my pet peeves. Obviously no resolution and go off because I don't control you clearly, but I'm definitely judging you. You're just trying to be an asshole because I've seen people who go to Mets games and they're wearing their Yankee stuff and the Mets aren't playing the Yankees. And I'm sure Mets fans do it to Yankee Stadium too. I'm not saying that my fan bases don't do this. And I'm just like, ew, why are you wearing that?
At least I don't yell about it.
Yeah, that's true. If you're wearing a jersey of a team that's not even there and yelling, you shouldn't be allowed to go to sporting events.
I keep quiet. I'll just sit there and let people judge me.
Oh yeah, silently judge you. And I guarantee you I'm not the only one who feels this way.
It's probably most sane fans.
Yeah, I don't, it bugs me for some reason. Or not for some reason. I think I gave plenty of reasons. So.
Yeah, you gave a decent amount, I would say.
Yeah.
My last pet peeve is actually about fans.
And this one is a good one.
It's a real pet peeve. It's when people show up late as shit to a game. You know, you're just vibing in your seat and there's empty seats around you. And that's a good experience. You know, maybe you move down a few rows, whatever, after the game has started. And then all of a sudden, fourth inning or after the first quarter, someone rolls in. They're like, that's my seat. And you'd be like, what do you mean that's your seat? You haven't been here the whole time. It's mine now. It's finders keepers. It's mine. Show up on time.
Keepers, losers, weepers.
Show up on time or hit the back, dude. Buy a new ticket. I don't care. So this is one of my pet peeves. It's kind of dumb because they did pay for the seat, but it's also like, show up on time. Or when they're walking in, is something important is happening, they're just walking in front of you and shit like that.
Well, that's why I like in hockey, you can't go to your seat until there's a break in the play.
Yeah, but any other sport, you just roll on like there's 17 hot dogs in the fourth inning. It's like blocking everybody's view.
I definitely have done this pet peeve before with specifically again hockey, because Derek and I have been running late to Lightning games before and we'll miss the entire first period. I don't think any other sporting event I've been late for, but yeah, we definitely have been bad the past couple of times. Either he was running late for work or something happened where we were just running late for the game. Or one time too, there was straight up traffic to get across the bridge. And I think someone gave us tickets. They weren't using theirs. And we were already running late and it would have taken us 45 minutes to get to Emily. So we just turned around and didn't go to the game. I would say this is just like, I don't know if I even recognize it. I think I would be more upset, like you said, if a big play is going on and people are standing. Again, it goes to, there's some manners when you go to a sporting event or you're out in public.
I don't even want you to show up if you're late. I don't want you showing up at all. Stoppage, non-stoppage. No. If you're late, you've given up the seat. You've given up the space. That's how I feel about it.
I feel like if it's like, it depends. If you've missed half the game, what's the point?
That's true. I think that's just one of my pet peeves in just life is if people are late, because I'm like, that gives me such anxiety to be late for things. I know you're different, but I can't be late for shit.
I think that's why I'm so lackadaisical about it, because I am a late person. I feel like I've definitely gotten better, but we always ran late for shit. Even as a kid, we were running late. So it's just like, whatever.
No, we were definitely the typical Midwestern family that was not late, showed up to the airport 5 hours.
Like, well, the airport was different because my dad would be like, our flight's at noon, have to be there at 5 a.m. And it's like, what are we doing? But the airport is different. I would say just like, I just remember as a kid always running late to things like birthday parties, sports games. We just ran late. And it wasn't by 30 minutes. It was maybe 5 minutes behind, but we still were late. I really do think it has to do with your childhood, and no offense to my parents, and it's really more so my mom
called out.
And especially when my sister and I would get ready and stuff, yeah, we would be running late to stuff.
It's an anal thing that I have just deep down. I remember last time we went to the airport, Janelle got home from work. I'm like, we got to go. It was like 2 hours or whatever, 3 hours before our flight went. I was being a real dad. And she was like, I want to mow the lawn. We're not mowing the lawn.
Before
we're going to be gone for a week. She's worried about
Janelle,
the grass.
It'll be okay.
But I was like, we got to go. And I'm like, we don't know how busy the airport is. We got to go. I was freaking out about it. But we got there and we sat and waited for an hour. She's like, I could have mowed the lawn. I was like, it doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh. Well, speaking of airports, and this is why Derek and I will never book an early flight again. I've missed a flight now twice with Derek. Once was when he accidentally threw his wallet that had his license into the garbage. So,
wait.
Okay, so this is such a tangent, but Derek likes to be on time for certain things. But when it comes to flights, I like to just walk right onto the plane, especially if we have a seat. I'm good.
No.
So one time, this is the first time it happened. We were going to New Hampshire to go skiing. And I don't even know how we missed this flight, but it was an afternoon flight. I think we both came home from work early. And usually before we go on a trip, we take the garbage out, obviously. So when you come home, it doesn't sink in your apartment. When we were putting the garbage in the garbage bag, he had another bag of trash from his car. And he put his wallet in there just to help him bring it up. But then he forgot to take it out. So we go to the dumpster, throw the trash, go to the airport. And at this point, we were making fine time. And I think we're also really spoiled with TPA because it's the fastest airport I've ever been to. Mm-hmm. Security is never longer than 5 minutes. And I have TSA pre-check, so it just like walk through. So we were flying Southwest, and one of the reasons I also love Southwest is because they have the automated kiosk and you don't have to wait in line and go up to somebody. Why doesn't every airline do that? Okay. That's a pet peeve.
This is such ridiculous. My family, my sister and my parents do not like Southwest.
There's a lot of people who don't, and I'm like, why? There's literally nothing wrong with it.
Cheaper. You get 2 bags free. You get to play little Hunger Games beforehand, and there's some chance to it, some luck.
It's a little drama.
It's got the whole package. So I don't understand the point of booking Delta.
Okay, Delta, don't Delta is a scam. That airline is a scam. So Delta also, it's like, okay, we're welcoming Sky Platinum people. Okay, now we're welcoming Star Platinum. Now we're welcoming Sky Gold, Bronze, Silver, blah, 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 blah. And obviously, I'm none of those. We're with the normies. And it takes an hour to board the damn plane. And those people are paying extra and gaining whatever Sky points and all that stuff. And also at the Tampa airport, the longest lines I've ever waited in is for Delta. And if you're such a good airline, why don't you have the automatic things like Southwest? I don't understand. I never understood that. Anyways, back to Southwest because it's amazing. So we were printing out our baggage tags and I go to pull out my license because when you drop your bag off, you have to show your license. And Derek's like, "Where's my wallet?" And I'm like, "Bruh,
that's your problem. I don't hold your shit."
And he's like, "Oh, I probably just left in the car." Goes to the car, nothing. He's like, "I think it's back at the apartment." And luckily enough, we live right across the bridge. Literally takes us 10 minutes, if that, to get to the airport. Comes back to the apartment, looking everywhere. It's getting closer and closer to our boarding time at this point. I'm at the airport with all of our bags, just sitting there waiting. And he was looking, couldn't find it, to the point where I was like, there's no way we're making this flight. So then I guess he finally realized, I think it's in the trash bag. He goes to our apartment dumpster and dumpster dives into the garbage and pulls out his wallet. Comes back to the airport, and then we had to switch flights. The woman I was talking to, I obviously was playing the sad card and just whatever. And she was like, "Okay, I'll see what I can do," and talk to her manager, and they switch our flight, thank goodness. And then it honestly worked out better because the next morning we had the early flight and there was literally nobody on our flight. I think there was maybe 15 people total. Derek and I each had our own row because who's going from Florida to New Hampshire in the middle of January?
No one.
So it was fine. And then this past time, again, this time we were running late. We did not account for all this stuff, but we were flying out of LaGuardia, which is just a hot mess in general. And I don't think we left our hotel until 5 and our flight was at 7:30 and it's a 30-minute drive. So, and we had to drop the rental car off and then we had to take a bus to another bus. We got to the airport and I went to go check our bags again. And it was like, it's too late to check your bag. I think it was Delta. And they were also really nice and just changed us. I think the flight was like 10:30. So we just hung out in the airport for a little bit and changed us for free. But yeah, so I've definitely, due to not leaving early enough for the airport, have missed 2 flights. So yeah.
Wow. That's never happened to me. But this is ridiculous. Why don't we board planes from back to front? Do you know how much quicker the boarding process would be if we just did that? Like, you're sea boarding in Southwest, you get your ass and you gotta go to the back. Like, you can't take the front ones, go to the back. That should just be how it is.
And especially if you have an assigned seat. But again, the Delta people, those premium for whatever the hell, I guess they're paying for more money. So they want to get on the plane earlier. Like, again, I do not want to sit on the plane. As soon as I sit down, I wish the plane just took off.
Yeah, you just sit there for like 20 minutes for everybody to put their bags up and like get into this. No, if you're assigned seats in the back, you get on the plane first. That's just, I don't know. It just seems really smart to me, but
I mean, we could do a whole episode on travel pet peeves because I can't.
We basically just did.
Yeah.
But anyway, don't show up late to games. I guess don't show up late to airports, as Miranda said.
Or you'll miss your flight.
Also, don't get up in the middle of a play and go get popcorn and make me stand up. But that's another thing. But anyway.
Yeah, I feel like you should only get up in the middle of the play if you really have to pee. Like, you're gonna pee your pants.
You better be barfing. Like, I don't care. I'm sorry. There's always the people that get up 10 times game. And I'm like, you need to sit on the aisle or you need to go home.
That's literally Derek. He has a small bladder.
Pee in a bottle.
In public so that he gets arrested for public nudity.
It's a hide it.
I think that would be way worse than just getting up and disturbing them for a second. But I will say we always try to get the aisle seats, just in general, because I don't like being in the middle.
I don't, because then people have to get up around you.
Yeah, but if you're the people that are always getting up,
that's true. But I'm not, so I like to sit in the middle.
Okay. pet peeve before we keep getting distracted by being late to the airport again is when fans of the winning team / series continue to talk shit to the losers. I think it's different if the fan of the other team was talking shit to you the whole time and you're like, we'll see, blah, 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 then go for it. If people are just minding their own business, enjoying this game, and then you're talking shit after you won, I'm like, act like you've been here before. I just think it's embarrassing still going off. You won the damn game. Leave me alone.
I think people feel so protective over their teams and feel such, I don't know, pride maybe over them too. You're right. I mean, people just keep going, and maybe it's like, oh, I can talk shit to these people until we win the next series or the next game against this other team or whatever it might be. I think it is kind of a way for people to talk down to others too. You're kicking someone while they're down, which we learned in preschool not to do that.
I've gotten older. I personally just feel like it's not necessary. I think this is also because I'm just superstitious about my sports teams, because literally at the drop of a hat, anything bad could happen. Even when the Rangers were up 2-0, I wasn't talking shit to Lightning fans. I don't think I'll ever experience this. But even if my team is a dynasty, I don't know if I would still talk shit, just because sports is so unpredictable that anything can happen at any given moment. I just think sports, again, it's just so emotional, and it's like your team proved you right. You won on the field, you won the series, you're moving on. Leave me alone. I'm not in the right mental state. I just lost. Okay, I'm not in the right mental state for you to just keep going off and off and off. And you should be happy and excited that your team won and you're moving on. And again, I witnessed this when we went to the Lightning Islanders game 7 last year, and two of my cousins and my uncle were there as well. And we all sat together and they were in their Islanders stuff, and just the amount of people screaming at them. There was a dude holding one of those replica Stanley Cups, and he's like, you'll never get one of these. And it's like, the Islanders were literally a dynasty. I'm not even an Islanders fan. And I was like, you're uneducated. They've had those already. What are you talking about? Or my least favorite thing is when people are like, go back to New York. You idiot. We live here. We pay taxes here. You know how many transients there are in Florida? You see it in all of your sporting events. How many people from the Northeast live here? I just don't get the point of continuing to berate the other fans who haven't done anything to you when you just won the game.
I think there's a line of talking shit. There's one thing to use stats and what happened on the field or whatever to back it up. And there's that line where you start intentionally insulting a person because of their fandom outside of what actually happens in person.
And I think that the reason why, again, the shouting and yelling and also just continuing to talk shit annoys me is because I've seen it bubble into aggression. Even what happened at MSG where that Rangers fan knocked the Lightning fan out cold.
That was crazy.
That's so, like, first, you just assaulted a person. You're at a sporting event. I don't understand why these angry emotions, like aggression, comes out. It doesn't have to be that way. And now that fan is banned from every MSG event ever for the rest of his life. Was it really worth it? No. And you could have killed a man for what? What is the purpose? And that's what I just don't like at all, is when people are berating someone's character because they like a certain sports team. And yes, we can have fun, and we've talked shit about certain fans and stuff. But when I see them out at a game, I'm not going to be, oh, you're the worst person in the world. At the end of the day, sports is fun because we all root for different teams. If we all rooted for the same team, sports wouldn't exist, first of all. And it'd be pretty boring. It's okay, I think, to have fun with it and have that little bit of competition. But to get so mad and angry where you're aggressively talking shit or punching people, no. Life is much more than this. I promise.
I can't imagine sucker punching someone after a game, or just, I just can't imagine assaulting someone in general. But no, that's, most people probably can't.
When I was younger, I definitely was more angsty and angry because I think a part of it too is like, that's kind of how you in a way get into sports is the shit talking side of things. But when you get older, it's just like, this means so much more. I'm not going to get into a fight with another fan for no reason.
I don't think you and I even talked about the Lightning Ranger series.
We respect each other. So I'm not going to be like, you're rooting for the Lightning, you're a piece of shit. No. What do you mean? That makes no sense. I'm not even mad at the Lightning because it's the Rangers' fault why we lost. 100%. After that game 3, they completely lost their momentum and we just didn't show up. Our team is so young. They don't have the post-in experience that the Lightning does. I'm confident we'll be back and it'll be fine. But I don't even have shit to talk because it was the Rangers' fault why they lost.
Right. But I'm also not going to talk shit. Why do that? We manifested that series from the start coming together and happening, and I would have rooted for whichever team went through. I'm not going to talk shit to you. You're a dumbass Rangers fan. Igor sucks.
I think it's a part of it is just a respect thing, but also just an educational thing. I don't know. I'm like, you really can't talk shit. I think the Rangers had an amazing season. No one expected us to go this far. I respect it. And the Lightning are a great team. Do I think it would be cool if the Avalanche won? Yeah, because they're young.
Olsen 6, baby. It's deja vu. This will be so outdated by next week.
I was going to say, we'll see what happens. Yeah, so just like be a nice fan.
Respect other people is basically what it comes down to. But yeah, we've got a new segment. I've decided we're starting it now. Sports drama moment of the week. So very recently, Brooks Koepka quit the PGA Tour to join LIV Golf. Have you tuned in to much about this little saga between the PGA and LIV?
I am not a golf fan, but I know that Brooks Koepka went to FSU, so
there we go. So basically, the LIV has been started by some rich Saudi Arabians to take some control from the PGA in terms of the golf world, but people are kind of upset about it because obviously Saudi Arabia has some interesting human rights issues and record, but these dudes are rich as shit. They're offering people so much money. I think Dustin Johnson got 120 mil to come over and just sign with the league, which is, I think they said, more than Tiger Woods has ever made from winnings in the PGA Tour. So the money is incredible. A bunch of guys went over already, but I think what makes it a little bit dramatic was Brooks played in the US Open last week, and he was asked, are you going to go over? What do you feel about the LIV? And he said, quote, I'm here at the US Open. I'm ready to play at the US Open. I think it kind of sucks. You're throwing this black cloud over the Open. It's one of my favorite events. I don't know why you keep doing it. The more you keep talking about it, the more legs you give it, referring to the LIV. So basically, I guess, insinuating a little bit that he's not joining, he's not going over. And then a couple of days ago, just kind of popped on over there with the rest of the crowd. So it's interesting. It's dramatic to me because this could happen to any other league where a bunch of rich people come in and just steal all the players away. But this is the first time we're seeing something like that happening. So it's really interesting.
Definitely dramatic, especially if he was like, but I guess also like, what is he going to say while he's playing the US Open? Yeah, I'm going over there. Mm-hmm. So I don't blame him in a sense, but this kind of reminds me, I think it was couple years ago, or maybe they do it once a year, I have no idea, but the WWE has a huge pay-per-view over in Saudi Arabia, and people were like pissed because, again, don't really want to be supporting this country because they have major human rights issues and don't treat their people well whatsoever. And people were pissed off at WWE for having the show. I'm sure, again, it's a very wealthy country, so they were getting paid out the wazoo. And a good amount of wrestlers dropped out of the pay-per-view too, but people were pretty pissed off at the ones who participated.
I typically will watch Tiger, and Tiger, they said, turned down a high 9-figure offer to go over there. So probably somewhere around the 700, 800 million mark to go over. And Jordan Spieth hasn't gone over, but I don't know. It gives me a bad vibe.
Yeah. And there comes a point where things are more important than money.
Right, exactly.
Sure, he's making plenty of money being in the PGA too.
Yeah, these are dollar amounts I can't relate to. So
yes, exactly.
But what's stopping a group of really rich people from creating a baseball league and paying more money? There's absolutely nothing stopping this from happening to any other league at all.
So
which is kind of
exactly,
scary.
giving it life and legs. And yeah, I just think it would be extremely sad and different because just the history of the PGA too. And now you're just going to go to this other place because they offered you a ridiculous amount of money.
I hope the PGA can keep up. So I don't know. Sports drama moment of the week.
Love it.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Next week, we've got another interview with the fans. You definitely don't want to miss that.
As always, check out our link tree, which you can find in the description of the episode. This is our one-stop shop for you to find all of our social media accounts and also sign up to share your fandom story with us. Or if you want to add to our pet peeves or tell us why you wear a different jersey to a game, I would love to know.
And so you don't miss any of the upcoming podcasts, subscribe to us on whatever platform you're listening on. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and more. We're making a big push for reviews on Apple Podcasts or a 5-star rating on Spotify. So would love your support as we continue to grow the podcast. I think this is episode 20. That means we're in the top 1% of podcasts because most people quit after episode 3. So,
oh my God, look at us. Pat ourselves on the back.
For real, we're the best.
Yes, and seriously, thank you to everyone who listens and supports. We have a lot of fun doing this, so we're going to keep doing it. Thanks again, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.